I'm happy.
I'm streaming tomorrow. Might find my mate on there that's got, you know, his wife's knickers and bra on.
Yeah, I'm streaming right now.
Oh, sorry. That's what someone commented that on my stream earlier today, Dan.
What?
I'm in my wife's knickers and bras while she's out watching the stream. Like, Tony, deal with this, because that's weird.
I see the problem.
Right, I'm going in the comms box. I'm taking you're going to reset the lobby.
Lobby's been reset, so it is good to go. There's 10 minutes left of free practice.
When you... That fucking lagged like shit then. When are you going to go live?
Bang on 8 o'clock.
Right. Ciao. You might as well just wait here and stay live, because you're not going to go out straight away, surely.
Yeah, no, I'm not going out straight away. That's fine.
Considering my dad doesn't know what he's doing, to only be a second behind
yeah, he's got
Daz.
He's showing some decent pace at the minute, I thought. Right.
Whoever he's partnered with is stuck with the Jensen Button livery.
There should be 13 drivers, all 13 are posted on Discord.
Right, I need to load up the Simplay stream because I mean I've got no idea what Dan's going to be looking at compared to me.
Mate, just look at wherever you want to look at and just don't matter. It don't just mention, oh, I'm currently watching so and so, and I'll be like, oh, okay, how are they looking on track? What car are they running? Just chit chat, mate. Just think of it like a podcast instead of a
commentary.
Yeah. Right, that's fine. Well, yeah, that's fine.
That's what I'm doing anyway.
So there's 13 of us that should be in. People obviously starting to come in more now.
Where are the qualifications there? So those ones that you've tagged in are the ones that should be in here. So
they're
yourself, Bryn, Phil, Arison?
Yeah. That's how I'd say it.
Anderson, Max, DJ Phil, Dean, Kelly, Caroline, Argent Sperm, Welshie, Stelsloth, Daz, Smithy, Shane.
Yeah.
Whoa, who's the lone boss stop, Math, yo?
Oh, we don't put that buzzer boy with professional.
No.
Gonna go live.
Proper name.
Right, Dan, just change camera for me.
Wait, I'm cleaning my glasses.
Yep, so when I count down 3, 2, 1, change the drive you're on, and then we'll be live. So 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport. We are live here at the Circuit Catalunya, and we're starting off qualifications as we are going to start the night off as Bozzy. Qualifications here tonight. I've got Bozzy Boy in with me to chat about the season ahead that's coming about a month's time. But it's going to be an interesting season. The first time we've run ACC full season. This is now our go-to track, go-to championship for project instead of project cars. And Bozzy, obviously yourself have a lot more experience on this game than myself anyway, obviously due to doing a lot of endurance races with Matt and the Simplay Racing Group. Are we excited for this ACC season? Something a lot different to Simplay Motorsport, a very popular game, very much everyone's using this platform, and it's something new that these guys are going to have to learn. So it's an exciting season ahead for sure.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be an exciting season. I find there's quite a lot of stuff happening on track when you're on this game, and then especially when you've got these bunch of lads actually driving, it's just gonna make this. It's just gonna make everyone be like, wow.
Yeah, definitely so. Obviously tonight there's no real big happenings as such. It is just literally a qualifications to where everyone gets categorized in their set groups. So for example, there will be like project cars, we will have a pro and a pro-am, and the best way for us to determine who goes in which group is obviously based off lap time. And again, Bozzy, coming back to you, the difference between ACC and project cars is massive. This is why we're doing this requalification, because obviously a lot of guys like yourself, Matt, try to think of others who have played this, Fury, Emplava, a lot of people who've had experience in this game know how it runs and how it works. A lot of these guys in this lobby as such, like KLF, Dean, Welshie, Shane, all this is brand new to these guys. How much of a difference is it going from Project Cars 2 to a game this anal?
Detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be hard for them, but when they get down, get proper into it, they're going to find a massive difference between this and Project Cars 2. Just going on it at first, you can tell a massive difference, and it's a very highly detailed game, and I think it's going to be really good for the drivers and the league itself for actually moving to this game. Yes,
definitely so. As the guys are currently on track right now doing a practice session, they will be doing an hour qualifying session, and like I said, their best lap time will then put them in whatever group they end up being in, whether if it's pro or pro-am. It all depends on what lap time they can produce. And again, obviously, the choices of car in this is down to them, really. We've asked them to stick to one car for the whole session, but they're not necessarily stuck with that car for the season. This is just so they can qualify to either pro or pro-am. But obviously, once you then know who's in pro, who's in pro-am, then the discussions will be talked about driver pairings, cars, team names, all that lot. So in this sense, Bozzy, obviously with someone new to the game, car choice is kind of important just to put a decent lap time in. What would you recommend as a newcomer to what car they would run? There's a lot of car choices in this. What would you necessarily say would be a good baseline start?
McLaren would definitely be one of them. McLaren is one of the more stabler cars, I think, as well as the Lexus being another one, which is...
So the McLaren that's on screen now that KLF is running in the 720S?
Yes, the 720S is... It's a really good starter car for this game. It's actually personally the car I actually drove when I came to this game, and it's quite a mixed car. You can be quite fast in it, but stable as the same time. Yep.
You also said the Lexus as well. Obviously, Smithy currently out in the Lexus at the minute. A car that we've not seen on Project Cars, obviously, and the Lexus is, I know for a fact that when I've started playing this game, I played the career mode, and I fell in love with this car. It's very easy to get on with, and it's very quick. So the Lexus is definitely another one that's a very good opportunity to learn, just get the grips of this game, understand how it feels, how it works, how it runs. And there is one other car that a lot of people tend to discuss that is a good car to start with, obviously the McLaren and the Lexus, and I believe the Aston Martin V8, I believe, is the best.
Yes.
It's the V8.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because I believe you've done a endurance race with the V8?
Yes, I did I was meant to do the Indianapolis in it, but I actually did the Watkins Glen 4 hours, I believe it was, in that car with Monkey Boy.
Mm-hmm.
That is quite a stable car as well. It's a very quick car in a straight line as well, and it's another car that I've fell in love with myself, as well as, like I've already said, the McLaren. If you get the car right, it's amazing. There's not really much you can do to the car to make it bad.
Yeah, definitely so. I agree with that one. These guys still got 3 minutes left of their practice session, and then they will be going into the into the actual qualification rounds, and tonight we're meant to be expecting Matthew Duffin, or Matimovic, as everybody knows him. Bryn is obviously qualifying here tonight as well. DJ Phil, Daz Automatic as well, a newcomer to the Simplay Motorsport. We saw him at the GT3 versus GT4s a week ago. He is back and is going to be qualifying to race the full season. We've got Max Mulder, your race winner over on F1 sprint race last Sunday. We've also got Dean Wasocki. Your uncle is in here tonight. Liam, let's see what he can do. He seems to favour the Ferrari at the minute, so let's see what he's able to do tonight. KLF, we're meant to be having Kieran Argent, but it's we're not too sure whether or not if he's coming in or not. Welshie is another one. Stealth Sloth, Smithy, Shane, and also Anderson 88, which we haven't seen quite yet. We are meant to have 13, and currently we've got 11, but obviously we still got 2 minutes until qualification, and they have an hour to get it done. Let's have a quick chat about the track that we're currently testing up at Boz. We're in Catalonia, Barcelona, and the typical F1 test track, where them do their testing, they do their practicing, and for us, it's our qualifications, and it's a circuit that I feel like really balance out a whole sector. You got sector 1, which is all about fast flowing corners, and then into sector 2, where it's a little bit more straight line and a bit high speed corners again, but kind of more different with aero and stuff like that. And then you got the final sector, which is all about slow speed corners and traction, and obviously the long back straight as well. So this is an ideal circuit to kind of learn what feels good, what doesn't feel good, for sure.
Oh yes, definitely it is. It really gets you to try the full potential of the car, especially like, for example, the McLaren or the Aston Martin or the Ferrari. To be fair, it gets you to be able to really figure out where you stand when it comes to the car, if it's a really good in straight lines, if it's really good slow nifty corners, or if it's quite good when it comes to fast flowing corners.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just putting a poll out for you guys, as we will try and get you guys interacting as much as we possibly can with us this season. And the first poll tonight is going to be what car you like. We're going to start off with a couple in the session at the minute. We're going to start with these four. We're going to start with the McLaren, the Lexus, the Ferrari, and the Lambo. Let's hear from you guys which one of these you like the look of. Another thing I've got to mention as well, Buzzy, is one of the things that I love about this game is the fact that it nails sounds amazingly well on this game.
Yeah.
Obviously, Matt last week was commenting on how I was driving the Maserati for the GT4, and its downshift was very, very brutal, as Matt already in the chat saying Bentley. But Holty in the chat also asking, are people running setups for the quali, or are we just running default? You can run whatever you like, basically. Whatever you find comfortable and is easiest for you, you can run with a default if you find that's comfortable, or you can run with a setup as well. Whatever you feel comfortable, really. Matt has obviously gone for the Bentley. A lot of people already saying the McLaren. But I've already lost track where I was. But yeah, the sound of this game is just on point. And to be fair, Boz, one of the best sounding cars isn't actually on this grid. I think the best sounding car possibly on this game is possibly the Aston Martin V12. That thing sounds beautiful on here.
I agree, but obviously on the PS4 version you don't have it, but I do really like the sound of the BMW M4 as well. I think that older cars particularly sound quite nice. I mean, there's a few, like, to be fair, the Lamborghini is one that I thought would have sounded more powerful, and I don't really get the sound of powerful from it, like what you would expect. But they all sound really nice. But the M4, straight through me, amazing. Oh.
Definitely so, as we have now got the guys out on track, and this is where their qualification starts. They have this whole hour to pump in their best lap time as best they possibly can, and we'll just have a look at the end of who's fastest and all that comparison, really. And then obviously we'll have tomorrow night, and then those guys will be on track. Myself will be on there testing out what is best for them for this session. But one man we do have to keep an eye on as well, Bozzy, not just obviously for the qualifications, but obviously for the season, is the man we're currently on screen with now, Matahimovic. Obviously, the last time we ran ACC, a short season, he ended up winning the title. So, what can he do? He's back in the Bentley. Can he take it to back-to-back championships?
You would have. I can imagine in his head he'll be wanting that. But we're going to have to see where he's going to qualify first. I think it's going to be obvious where he's going to qualify, but I think in his head he's going to be definitely eyes on the prize. But yeah, I think he's going to really need. He's going to need to really push this season, because I'm not too sure what other new guys are like, but I know it can be quite deceiving sometimes with times and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely so, for sure. As currently we got Kieran Argent into the session as well. He has gone out in the Bentley. And a reminder again, guys, these guys haven't solely picked these cars for the season. This is just for them to get through qualifications. A man I'll be interested to see how he gets on with this game is this man we're on screen with now, Smithy. Obviously a pad runner, a man who it just keeps going and going no matter what happens in the race. He always has the will to push to the end. And what can he do in this championship? Obviously, like I said, very, very different game. And this game is very much, like you said, it's very much like you have to nail everything right just to be comfortable. And then you have to be even further again to be fast.
Yeah.
Pad runner as well. And it's very much like, well, Project Cars 2 was all about controller and wheel could be either way. It could, like, Overtaker is very, very fast on the pad.
Yeah, we've seen with like Jamie, who's just absolutely rapid on a pad. This game, I find, is a lot more wheel dependent rather than something like Project Cars 2. Project Cars 2 was very mixed. This is very, if you've got a wheel, you've got more. You can still be quick on a pad. Do not get me wrong, but you are definitely going to be a lot better off on a wheel for this game.
Yeah, it is. I feel you've got to have that feel. You've got to feel the car. You've got to know exactly what it's doing, especially with the tyres. The curbs can be quite aggressive. Everything about this game is as close to GT racing as you can physically possibly get. And this is just a PS4 version. You wait until you try it on the PC. It's even more particular on that one as well. But Smithy's first attempt on ACC. He's in the Lexus, a very stable, easy car to get used to. It looks like he's struggling a little bit, but I think over time he will get to grips with it.
You'll start getting a bit of a flow, because you find that a lot with when you do a bit of racing. You'll do a few laps and then you just start getting in that flow. It's just when you start pushing, which a lot of these guys will be, I could imagine a lot of these guys that haven't actually driven this game much will be more trying to find the rhythm and trying to find their place with that car on the track as of the minute, than actually pushing for the lap time straight away.
Yeah, definitely so, and just kind of find their levels. As Max Mulder is the first one to set a lap time, and he does a 151.2. So I believe that's really an outlap for him. It's not really not really a benchmark as such. It's just kind of testing the fields at the minute. I don't know if you've done a lap time around here, Bozzy, but I think for Pro and Pro-Am, it's going to be certain lap times we're going to be looking for. For Pro, we're going to be looking for that 45, 46 second bracket. And I think just in the 48 over will be Pro-Am. So it all depends on that. But as the first round of the season, this will be the first race of the season. It's not a bad place to start. Everyone knows it. Everyone gets on with it. And if you were going into this season, Boz, what car would you go for if you were on the PS4?
If I'm on the PS4, it would definitely have to be the McLaren. It's the one car that I know that I can drive on the PS4. I know that I can drive plenty more when it comes to the PC, but I would definitely start off with the McLaren and then maybe start popping off to something like the BMW M6, I believe it is, on the PS4, or the Aston Martin. But overall, it would be the McLaren would be my aim. Anything else that I find that I might find more comfortable, I might move to that. But McLaren, if anything's that one I keep my eyes on.
As we are now starting to get some lap times kicking in, and whoa, Kelly's putting a good lap time there, 1:47.9. He is in that McLaren, and obviously most people know Kelly is my dad, and he doesn't get much time to sim race. He's a very busy man, and for him, it's going to be a difficult season for sure, because I feel like with ACC you need to test and be ready for any situation, especially with the conditions as well. As also Overtake it in the chat, evening, let's see the competition for this season. So it's going to be a difficult one for Kelly, isn't it, Bozzy? Because obviously not much time to be on. Basically, what he's told me is literally he's going to get on just before whatever sessions he's in and do that practice session. So it's going to be difficult each week to know where he stands.
It's going to be very hard. I find that with this game, you do need that practice there. I know when it came to Project Cars 2, some of these guys, especially when it came to some of the older guys, obviously we've been running Project Cars 2 for 6-7 seasons, something like that.
Something around that, yeah.
Yes, something like that. And because we've been running it for so long, people are quite knowledgeable to that game. This is a brand new game to them, and they're gonna need that practice. I think that if you can get the practice in, you've got a better chance of succeeding. But I think if you're, I think it's something Matt says, a good driver can drive anything. Maybe not really as well suited for this, but if you're a good driver, you should be able to drive. And Kelly is definitely one of those that should be able to, even with a little bit of lack of practice, he should still be able to drive and hopefully be able to get good positions and finish well.
Yeah, definitely so. So we will end the poll there, and obviously it's gone the way of the Ferrari, which is the most points people like. McLaren was in second, no votes for Lexus or Lambo, but also we did get 2 votes for the Bentley as well. And speaking of the Bentley, we are currently looking at Kieran Argent. Matt has now gone top of the session with a 146.3, and I think Kelly's a little bit shocked the fact that he's ended up P2 in that McLaren. So already Kelly's looking like he's going to end up in the pro category, but I will see there's a lot of pro guys tomorrow night from Project Cars 2, so we'll see where they end up. No love for the Lambo. Well, I got a bit of love for the Lambo. For tomorrow night, Bozzy, I got a quick rundown of the drivers that will be testing for tomorrow. PM Motorsport is joining on to ACC. He's not a massive fan of Project Cars, but as soon as he found out we were on ACC, he has jumped on here. And Prava will also be testing tomorrow night with also Overtaker. We also know that he's the last champion on Project Cars 2. What can he do? With Disco also coming back onto ACC with Fury and Smoky Devil as well. Gary131, Big Boy Brazier, Monkey Boy, Peaceful Explosion, myself, Sati Apex, Tibbs is coming to give this a go again, Ukbar and Holty as well. So there's a lot of big name drivers that are usually in the pro category in Project Cars, and obviously once we get all the times put together, Buzzy, no one's really going to know where they stand.
No.
Obviously these guys know where they stand with the guys that are in this session, but yeah, until all the times have been put together, we just don't know what's going to happen.
No, we could find that we could find that people from the pro could be down in the pro-am. It's, again, with it being a new game, it could be a new, essentially, generation of pro drivers for ACC. You could see someone like DJ Phil in the pro, or you could find Dean in the pro, and then you could see someone like Sutty or Gary or something in the pro-am. It's so unpredictable. Until we've actually got the results in, we won't actually know. Yeah,
for sure. I know one man for sure who's very, very good at this game and actually is a little bit better for this than Project Cars. Is actually Monkey Boy. Every single session he's ever seemed to do on ACC always seems to be in the top half. I think he came second on the GT3 versus GT4. That was on Thursday night, finishing just behind Fury. So Monkey Boy is possibly a dark horse to keep an eye on.
He could be indeed, and it would be quite nice to see him in the pro as well. I know obviously season 2, me and him had a, well, I would say battle. He dominated season 2 with pro-am, went up to the pro, and I believe in the last few seasons he went back down. But it would be nice to see him back up there again.
Yeah, definitely. So, as we've just put in the chat, a question for the Q&A is, who's your favourite for the season? And Bozzy, I'm going to come to you, obviously, just with the brief drivers that you've seen. I think you've heard of a little bit of testing as well. Who's your favourite, or who are the ones you'd be looking at for possibly going to the Pro and being competitive in Pro?
Kelly, especially from that lap time he's just done, I think he could be up there. He could be maybe even in the middle ground, but I think he could go up to the Pro and be one to watch. I think another one that we might actually see, I don't think he's on track today. Oh no, he is, but Shane, I believe he will, especially after after last season. He was an absolute monster on the track last season in Project Cars 2, and it'd be nice to see him in the Pro as well. And I think if he did go to the Pro, I think you could actually see him do a few bits, get a few podiums potentially.
Yeah.
Who else is there? I believe Bryn's a good driver. I think he could go potentially be in the Pro, but maybe more down there, maybe a bit of a mid to low kind of driver. Matt Himovic, I think he's definitely one to watch for the season. I believe he's got the potential to be able to win a second ACC championship. So I know obviously he won the first Simplay ACC championship that we actually did.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously running the #1 in this session as well. So like I said, previous champion on this division. I'm going to have to go with you, Bozzy. Obviously Matt looking very strong to possibly take maybe back-to-back wins. But who knows? Like I said, a lot of drivers coming from different categories. So he might have his work cut out in this one. As we'll just go on board with Matt at the minute, and he's currently on board with him. And you can see here, he's just behind Welshie, I believe, running the 69 Lamborghini.
He is.
So it just goes down the inside of him, and it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do as Kelly's come to a stop. So he's obviously looking to go back to the pits.
As you can tell that Matt's definitely trying to push the car there, as he didn't seem to really use the brake pedal. He just decided that he was going to try and straight line it, but it wouldn't work.
Yeah, as I'm trying to figure out how to change these cameras, but I think I've broken it now.
Yes, I don't believe you're allowed to actually go out. I think you're actually meant to stay on it because you can't go on board and change the camera like that.
Well, well, we're stuck on onboard views now, so that's this is my only problem with ACC. It really irritates me that the cameras aren't very good.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot that can be done for this game, but the game itself, for driving,
Matt's
it's
big
amazing.
moment. Yeah, there's a few things that just needs tidying up and sorting itself out. But we've already done 15 minutes of this qualifying session, and it is Matt at the top at the minute, with Kelly in second, with Shane in third, Daz Automatic in fourth, and fifth is Max Mulder, sixth is Arjun, seventh is Bryn Demasaki, eighth, ninth is Smithy, Welshie is 10th, 11th is DJ Phil, and 12th is Stealth Sloth. Like I said, I made a right pig's ear of this.
Yeah, you have, haven't you?
Yep. Oh well.
Yeah, you might either be stuck on that, or the only other way I believe you can do it is actually coming out and coming back in. But I wouldn't quote me on that one. The best person to ask is Mike, because he knows everything about it.
I saw him do it the other day, and so I thought I'd try and give it a go, but obviously I've made a right pig's ear of this so far. At least we get a nice onboard view of all the cars. Smithy currently in the gravel trap. Obviously, to any of the guys who are currently on track or that are also watching and want to join us in the commentary box, just drop me a message and have a quick chat about the season coming ahead. But we'll have a quick chat also, I forgot to mention as well, Buzzy, the calendar for ACC. A lot of circuits that we know, a lot of circuits that we are going to be running for the first time on GT3s, but the ACC calendar looks like this. Obviously, the first race of the season will be Catalonia. That's why we're testing here and doing qualification in this session. Also, we go then to Silverstone, which is a track that everybody knows. then heading towards Paul Ricard, the only track that we run on F1, and it's going to be the first time we run on ACC, but it's going to be a little bit of a trick that's different to Paul Ricard on F1 on ACC. We'll see how many people get it right or wrong. And circle TV camera. Well, there is no TV camera, Matt, so I'm stuck on this view. Fourth round of the season will be Nürburgring, and fifth will be Spa. Sixth is another one that we haven't run before on GT3, so which is Zandvoort. We head to the Netherlands, and they get slightly different to the F1 as they've got nice bank corners. On this one, there is no bank corners. Then we head to Monza, a classic, Zolder as well, and then round 9 will be Brands Hatch. And finally we finish the season on a track that probably none of these guys have ever driven before, Misano. Bozzy, that's a track that a lot of these guys will have to learn and understand, but yeah. What about that calendar? It's full of tracks that are very well known, and yeah, it's a lot of a cool set of tracks ahead of us.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a really fun season, as I believe I'm actually I'm doing the commentary alongside you and Matt, if I'm correct. No, yes, maybe. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be a very fun season to be able to commentate on, and I can't wait for it. I think Misano is definitely going to be one of those that's going to be very. If you've tested on the track enough, you will succeed. If not, you really want to do some practice, because it's definitely one of those that are going to be a bit tricky for some, especially the newer drivers to this game. Paul Ricard being another one which is going to be, it's going to be all right. There's quite a lot of runoff on there as well, but not particularly one that I'm a massive fan of. But hopefully it'll bring some good racing. Zandvoort, another Formula 1 track. And I believe the layout's a bit different to what the Formula 1 layout actually is. I could be wrong with that, but that's definitely going to be one to be able to watch as well, because that's quite a good track for racing. As well as many of the others, some like honourable mentions like the Nürburgring, Silverstone, Monza, all very classic but very action-packed kind of races that I can imagine all you guys out there are going to be really interested in watching, and drivers are going to be really interested in to take part in these races as well.
Yeah, definitely. So these guys have taught me how to do this, but so far it's not gone to plan so far, because I think they're not wanting to catch the cars going round. But hey ho. We're kind of stuck with this kind of thing, but hey ho, this will do. But I made a right mess of this, but hey ho, this is what testing's for, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Matt does a better job of this than I do. But
yeah, Matt knows how to do it. I don't.
I'm literally just making it up as I go along right now.
I just leave it. I'll load in, I'll go to pits, and then I'm just leaving it. I'm just going to change the drivers, that's it. I'm not messing about with it. Not risking it. It's done some of these liveries as well, quite interesting as well, like Bryn's, quite a very pink and blue car as well there, and Dean Wysocki going with a bit of a golden blue chromatic kind of car. I've also noticed Matt in a green, black and orange kind of car. Comic with it is in a green, black and orange car with a number 1 on. Kind of, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the one to point it out, but maybe talking about, he's trying to show who his racing idol is, Max Verstappen, cough cough.
Obviously,
he's gonna love I'm saying that.
the only car on the grid that obviously is a bit of a problem for the for liveries is obviously the Lexus. Obviously, you can't change the livery on the Lexus, so you're kind of stuck with what you got, kind of thing. You can't customize it, you can't change it, but yeah.
I think some of these liveries are quite nice, what they've got on. I know there's quite a lot of base liveries on at the minute. I know KLF running the Jenson Button team livery. I know obviously with the Lexus, like you say, you can't change the actual colours of it, but the livery on it still quite nice. Stealth Sloth in a Lamborghini, the well-known Lamborghini startup screen livery, and then obviously all the other ones with like Walshy being in the yellow and green livery. Quite a one that I believe he used to run when we was on Project Cars 2 as well, as plenty of others as well, like DJ Phil in the red and grey kind of McLaren, which actually looks quite nice, and Argent in a classic green Bentley.
As we've just got your ex-champion in the lobby right now, and Matt, I've made a pig's ear of this.
Did see it. I've not come in for that. I've come in to clarify something.
Clarify something. Well, it would have been nice if you'd given me some before with that. How can I fix it? 'Cause it's now just stuck in place. I can't follow cars.
Oh, so yeah, press it again.
I am pressing it again.
If you've set a button up, you have to press drive on a driver, and then you press the button again, and it should just, when you press drive on a driver, it should just then change from Helican, camera set 1 or camera set 2.
Yeah, but the camera's fixed.
It shouldn't be.
It is. This is good.
There should be another setting somewhere.
Okay, right, let's have a look, see.
I think I figured out why you're here, by the way.
Yeah. Why is the orange on my car, Bozzy boy?
Because you're trying to show off who your true hero is when it comes to racing.
Like the shirt on my stream at the moment, I am in the Team Dynamics colours of Halford Juassa Team Dynamics Racing.
But it's comical, the fact that you're in an orange and black car, kind of Max Verstappen-esque kind of colours with a number 1.
I heard this, and I know Dad said that the party's open for any drivers to join and have a chat if they wanted, and I was like, right, I need to rectify Bozzy's comment here.
Hashtag blame it on Bozzy in the chat as well.
Everyone's just seeing my screen now of how to do the cameras now. This is good, isn't it?
Well, this is why we do practice, to sort stuff like this out.
Oh, look at this camera shot we got. Ooh. We got a bit of rear wing on board.
On board one's nice, yeah. See the drivers' overalls and helmets and stuff.
Are you on track?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay. We've got a yellow flag here. That's I think that's Stealth Sloth pulled to one side.
Yes, it is.
Matthew, obviously, while you're in the chat, let's obviously you're in the Bentley, the car that you used the last time out. What are your anticipations for this full ACC season? Obviously the calendar as well, and who you got your watchful eye on, just in case you do end up in the pro. Who have you got in mind that could end up challenging you for the title?
Yeah, so first of all, the calendar looks good. Obviously it's extended from last time we did ACC. It's 4 races or 4 tracks longer. Plus we've kept with our format of sort of the 2 race scheme. The second race now going to be an hours long race, with the first race being a 20-minute sprint. So it's, you know, a different format to the last time I won on ACC. In terms of who have I got my eye on, well, there's currently 3 drivers I'm really looking at, and Overtaker being one. Obviously the defending champion of GT3, the last champion on Project Cars 2. Obviously yourself, Dan, being a 6-time champ, and then Fury at the moment as well. We always said on Project Cars, Fury's one that just seems to get better and better. Well, at the minute on this game, he is certainly showing us the same sort of things. That he is capable of getting better and better, and he is getting in a lot quicker. Obviously, we'll await to see what cars drivers announce and proper teammates and things like that over the coming weeks after this qualifying period. But yeah, I think they're the main 3, yourself, Overtaker and Fury, the 3 that are keeping my eye on, and the calendar looks a juicy one. It looks a good mixed bunch, doesn't it? You know, we've tested a lot of circuits, Dan, over the course of since the server's been online. We've seen some tracks like Misano and Paul Ricard where it favours the more powerful cars, and then we've been to places like Brands and Silverstone in here, which kind of helped the Bentley out a little bit, as well as other tracks on the calendar. So I think we've got a good mixture of tracks. I think we've got a good grid in both Pro and Pro-Am, and I'm excited to get this going.
Yeah, as Matt Liam's trying to start a new hashtag. Matt loves Max Verstappen. I've heard the rumours that he does love Max Verstappen. He drives very similar to him as well. He's very fast, very on the edge. All a bit of banter. So far,
I can agree.
Can't wait to
obviously, mate, I'm gonna get all sorts of stuff on me now, aren't I? One thing I would like to comment as well, obviously, Matt. Obviously, you're saying about drivers to keep an eye on. One man who's surprising me at the minute. Obviously, you're top of the table, but the man who's sitting in second at the minute, my dad.
Yeah.
I'm shocked at this so far.
From what you've obviously told me, I know that Kelly's obviously a busy man now. He's sort of focusing more on his work, and this is why he's come away from the commentary and he's not on as much anymore. It's great to see Kelly on, first of all. It's brilliant to see him back on the game. But that is some good pace, you know. We've seen a lot of Bryn and Shane in this off-season, and we've seen a lot of Bryn and Shane going quite quickly. Kelly's currently outdoing them both by half a second. It's funny that Bryn and Shane have done the exact same lap time. Yeah, I think Kelly is. I think I agree with Bozzy. Kelly could be one to watch. Kelly could be really on that cut-off line, of which group he's in.
He's obviously picked the McLaren as well, and the car that me and Bozzy have already discussed about, possibly one of the favourite cars to go in. It's definitely a car that could possibly win a title in. I know for a fact that I know one particular driver, an current champion, is looking at running this car. It's definitely a good all-round car, isn't it? A very good, well-based car. I know for a fact whoever's going to be partnered him will probably end up stuck with that livery, because he does. One of his idols is actually Jenson Button, so he's very, very happy that the Jenson Button McLaren is on here. But currently at the minute, what's his best last time so far? He's done a 47.9. So I said around 48, didn't I, Liam? It's going to be the cut-off point to Pro and Pro-Am, and he's just in that Pro category at the minute. Obviously, a lot of ex-Pro drivers to come on track tomorrow night, but so far a good showing for Kelly. He might end up in the Pro category yet.
He could do, and it would be really nice to see him in the Pro. I know obviously the last season of Project Cars 2 didn't exactly go his way, and it would be really nice to see him rectify that in ACC this season. Yeah,
definitely so. And we still got Matt in the chat. I think we do. We still have Matt in here.
Yep.
Obviously, let's have a quick rundown of Only Max Loves Max, says Disco in the chat. Is that Max Mulder or Max Verstappen? I don't know who he's referencing then. But obviously, let's have a quick rundown of what this season is going to hold in racing format. Obviously, you still have your practice sessions, you have your qualifying sessions, but obviously with ACC, we're able to change a lot of things with the game. And I think with talks that we were going to do a sprint and a feature for the ACC. I think we're discussing a 20-minute race followed by a hours race. So a lot of guys obviously going to have to change and adapt to lengths of races they're going to have to do, because an hour is a long time, and on this game as well, it's physically demanding on the wheel.
Yeah. And we sat there, didn't we? Me, you and Mike sat there and spoke about that the length of everything is actually going to stay the same. What we don't have is we don't have coming in and out of lobbies anymore, which takes up a lot of time. What we have is we have a server that flows and gets through everything. But an hour, you're right, does take up a lot of time. And I think this is something now, Dan, this is something that tests Project Cars a little more, because obviously the game is a bit more physical to drive, I think, than Project Cars. And with an hour's race, obviously we did two half-an-hour races. With an hour's race in one go, come 45 minutes, come half an hour into that race, mentally, physically, how are you coping, how are you doing, getting into that final 10 minutes? Because as we know in endurance racing, that first 10 minutes means nothing. But that last 10 minutes can mean everything. You know? It's not about what you do in the first half of the race, it's what you do in the second half of the race. We know this with endurance racing, we've seen it, we've done World Endurance ourselves. We've watched World Endurance, we've watched GT racing, we know all about it. So this brings a different task to this. Me and Liam saw it firsthand at the British GT at Donington. That first hour and a half of a 2-hour race at Donington, British GT, meant nothing. In the last half an hour, after the pit stops, when everything was out the way and sorted, then it was, this BMW leads, this Mercedes was really catching on him, blah, blah, blah. And it was for the championship. So mentally for the championship as well, come that race at Rizalma, which is a very twisty track, you're constantly turning at your wheel. it's all go for these drivers this season.
Yeah, definitely so. As we're currently on board with Max Mulder, obviously a race winner on Sunday, obviously winning the F1 race. But a man, he seems to be struggling here at the minute, and maybe he's.
And I don't know about Bozzy. This is the last thing I'm going to say before I head off. Without sounding too, I'm not sort of picking up drivers. Isn't it nice to kind of see the guys who dominated Project Cars last year struggle? And I don't mean that in such a bad way, but Max dominated Pro-Am last year. You know what I mean? Dean took a couple of wins, Argent got a win, you know, I think Kelly won a race, Joe won the final race, but Max dominated. Max is here struggling. Shane and Bryn, Daz newcomer, Argent's up there, Kelly's up there. Isn't it nice to kind of see these? And we've seen the Overtaker struggle a bit as well, you know. He's come into pace now, but he struggled a lot to start with. You know, these drivers aren't as dominant as they once was, so I think this game kind of has neutralised a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely so. And also the other thing they got to take into account as well will be the pit stops is very different on this as well. There's no more glitching, no more trying to get a 2 to 1 second stop. This will be a full 30 seconds, and that's something that these guys are going to have to learn to do so. But nonetheless, Matt, it was nice hearing from you briefly in the chat here tonight, and if you feel like going back out, then do so. But at the minute, you're top of the session. We were 45.8. And basically left things how you left off at last time we ran ACC.
Got to be done, hasn't it? Cheers, boys.
We'll catch you later. Bozzy, obviously, we've got a few people in the chat. We've got Disco in the chat at the minute. It's a tough old slog going through an hour, a total mental game. And I have to agree with him. It's a mental thing, isn't it? You've got an hour's worth of racing, and especially if you spent all day working or doing your normal day-to-day life things. Then coming home to do a 20-minute race and then an hour race afterwards on a track, say like Zolder or Misano or this one, for example, where you probably had to think about what you're doing. These guys are really going to be pushed to the limit on this game.
Oh yes, indeed they are, and it's interesting to see. It's really interesting to see, and it's going to bring some really good racing, especially with the fact that they're going to have to really be in that mind frame and mindset when track. They need to be all in with their head to make sure that they get the best position they physically can.
Definitely so. A few guys currently struggling at the minute. Self-Sloth, the only one not to set a lap time at the minute, and obviously this game's quite strict on the lap times. Obviously, if you go across the track limits, it will invalidate your lap time. And also, the other thing to watch out is obviously these guys, when it comes to the race, we briefly talked about the pit stops as well, Buzzy. The guys have to go in this box where you have to turn the engine off. You have to come to a complete stop. The engine's off, and you have to wait for your pit stop, which will be a tyre change. And also, if they want to add fuel, they can add fuel if they like. But the pit stop is quite easy to mess up because you can miss the box, can't you?
Oh yes, you can. It's one where if you miss the box, it's gonna cost you so much, especially if you come to a full stop. I know I said this to Kelly earlier that I think, and Matt agreed with me on this actually, that if you have it set so you turn the car on and off manually, it actually makes your pit stops quicker. So if you actually miss your pit box and press that button just as you're going in and you've just missed it, can really damage your time to actually in the pit.
Disco in the chat asking, any Porsches or Ferraris? In this session, there's actually no Porsches at the minute in this session. So yeah, so no Porsches for this one, but there is 2 Ferraris. We've got Daz Automatic in his Ferrari. He's currently in the middle sector in his white and black Ferrari. And we've got Dimasaki also in the blue Ferrari as well. But at the minute, it's very much it's either a McLaren or a Lamborghini lobby. There's only actually one car on its own, which is the Lexus. So, yeah, it's Smithy in the Lexus, and I really would recommend anyone who is new to the game to run this car. It's a nice actual car, lovely to drive, easy to handle, nice to learn in. As we've got Shane coming up towards the final end of the circuit, following Welshie at the minute. I will eventually fix the problem of the cameras. I just don't know what I'm in. Bozzy's just popped off for a second, but let's take a lap with one of these boys, shall we? Let's have an onboard. Or as we see there, Welshie running a little bit wide, as we will take a lap with Shane around the circuit Catalunya Barcelona. As we go out the final corner towards the back straight here, you would have got a lovely tail off the back of Welshie, but Shane is going down the back straight. If you've got a nice straight line speed, you'll be heading towards turn 1. Then braking at the 100-meter board into turn 1, dropping it all the way down to third, possibly second gear, depending on the car. Make sure you hit that apex in turn 2. Then up towards turn 3. Such a long corner. The car is screaming. The outside tyres are wanting to die. And at the minute, Shane's car is wanting to connect. Down up towards turn 4, famously where Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton came together. Another corner, you have to get the brakes right and steady on the throttle as you come out the corner, heading towards turn 5 into a downwards braking zone. Want to run out wide and try and get a late apex. You can get the best run towards 6 and 7 and 8. 6 is not really a corner here, down towards a 7, brake it just as the curb appears, down towards third or second depending on the car again, into 8 and up towards the fast right-hander of 9. Depending on how much downforce you have, you can take this flat, but Shane really having to drop down the gear, the rear not really wanting to play with him, as he then heads towards down the back straight towards turn 10, just braking at the 100-meter board. Get it dropped all the way down to first or second, again depending on car and get good drive out of the corner, and then into the quick left-hander kink of 11 into 12. The corner feels like it's going on forever and ever, in towards 13, 14, 15. Massive sausage curves here, you do not want to touch the curves here. Into 14 and then finally 15. Make sure you do not hit those curves because they are lethal. Run wide, stay within that yellow sausage curve into 16 and towards the start finish line, and that is a lap of Barcelona here, as Shane still stays 2.6 off the back of Matt, who's just slowly improving, and it is 20 minutes left to go. A couple of guys in the chat, Max, I don't know how to improve my lap time. That lap was esports pole position for my feeling. Clearly isn't, because Matt is top of the session at the minute. Max struggling to find any adjustments and changes to his car to improve. Disco is saying got the tyre pressure sorted. I have TC on, but not too high. I want it to be slow. Any ideas? And a lot of it is, like I said, all of it is down to the small little adjustments and changes. We do get another driver in the chat with us, and it's me old dad, Kelly. How are you finding ACC, firstly, and secondly, you've got to be impressed with yourself. Second at the minute behind Matt.
I know what happened there.
It's that Jensen Button McLaren, isn't it?
That's what it must be. I don't know. I've no idea. I'm hardly. I know my way around the track because I've been here before. Other than that, I have no idea what I'm doing.
But firstly, there's obviously how are you doing? How's everything going? Obviously, we've had quite a long break. Yourself, I know you very well, obviously, but not had much time to practice or do anything on ACC. Very, very busy life, and how is everything, firstly?
Yeah, good. I still have my keys for the combox, so I thought I'd come in and say hello, like, you know, as I still have my keys from last year. Excuse me, Matt. Sorry, nearly bumped into Matt in the pit lane then. Yeah, everything's good. I've had very little practice on this game. This is all really, really new. You know, like, don't know where menus are, don't know where this is. Been like learning stuff just before we started the session, with like brakes and tyre pressures, and yeah, and pull out a lap time. That lap time was my first flyer, so I had no you know, like kind of reference points where you kind of go green on your markers and so on and so forth. You know, it was one of those where I had no points of reference, and it just all seemed to pan out really well. So yeah, I might make a mistake and end up in pro in a minute.
But obviously new game, new everything. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
That's the first question. Are you enjoying playing this game? And obviously, yourself, a lot of drivers on this grid would never have played this game before, never done a lap, done a wheel, done nothing. What's your comparison compared to Project Cars 2? Obviously, you know Project Cars very, very well. And now you come to a game that's completely different. Let's get your opinion on that. But firstly, are you enjoying the game?
I believe I am now, Dan. I wasn't. When we finished Project Cars 2, you're quite right. I hadn't even turned a wheel on this game. So it's since we've left Project Cars 2, I've had probably, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour's practice in between then. So it's all very new. First things first, the graphics on Project Cars are much better than they are on here. I think it looks, Project Cars looks much better. I think drivability, I think the cars are a little bit easier to drive, or certainly this McLaren, when it gets into a spin, you can into a slide, you can catch it an awful lot easier than you could the cars on Project Cars. So I think drivability, I think you can kind of get yourself out of trouble a bit better than you can on Project Cars. So yeah, as I say, I wasn't enjoying it. I was thinking probably a week ago, if I was even going to bother. But then I started playing online a little bit with just some random lobbies and just doing some actual racing and started to get the hang of it a little bit. So I think it'll grow on me, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think as well, like me and Bozzy were saying in the start of this stream, that you're in a car that's very easy to learn to drive, very comfortable to drive in. It's a long wheelbase car, rear engine as well, or mid-engine, sorry. But it's definitely a car that's easy to learn the game as such. Obviously, like I said, with a long wheelbase car, it's less likely to spin on you, it's less likely to make mistakes. But like I said, it's a lot of information for you to learn and understand as well from this game.
Exactly right, Dan, and I took the advice of others, and as I said, picked a car that I was told would be easy to drive, you know, so you're exactly right. I took the advice of other people around me. I think it was you actually that got me on this one first, and yeah, you know, started driving the car and I haven't really driven anything else since. As I said, because I've had so little time behind the wheel, so just stick to one thing.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously quickly chat about the calendar as well, that we've asked Matt about the calendar as well. We got Catalonia first round of the season, obviously that's why we're doing this. Silverstone will be the next round, followed by Paul Ricard, and that actually has got a little bit of surprise. It's not the F1 Paul Ricard, it's slightly different, so that'll be an interesting one to see. I'm not going to give it away just yet because I want to catch some people out if they do it wrong. Round 4 will be Nürburgring, round 5 is Spa, round 6 is going to be Zandvoort. The first time we'll be running it in GT cars on here. Then it'll be Monza, Zolder, Brands Hatch, and then a circuit that a lot of these guys do not know, including yourself. We then finish the season off at Misano. So let's get your idea of the calendar. How does it sound to you, and also what are you expecting from this season?
Well, I said at the end of the last season that for me it would be learn as I go, learn the new game as we're going. I've been very busy just recently with one thing and another, so it is going to be a case of just learning everything week in, week out, learn how things work, how things get better, so on and so forth. So, I mean, calendar-wise, yeah, I'm not, you know, there's a lot of well-known tracks on there, like Spa, like Monza, like Catalonia, which we know the tracks, we don't have to learn the tracks, you know, so, I mean, that, you know, it is what it is, you know, there's tracks I like, there's tracks I don't like. It's always nice to have a new track and have a new challenge, so I'm not putting too much hope on anything in the season. Just to get through it, Dan, would be, you know, is how I'm thinking. Any results I get will be welcome and probably a surprise.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Misano actually is going to be a circuit that you might actually enjoy as well. It's that kind of is your type of circuit, patient, you've got to get in the flow kind of circuit. So I think it might be a track that you might do well at. But obviously, so far so good for yourself. You're currently third at the minute. 3 seconds point. I can't talk now. 3.1 off the back of Matt, but obviously we know what Matt could do on this game. He does a 44.8, and I think the fastest I've seen is within the 44s. So going into it, you and Argent once again close to each other, your old rival.
I was just about to say that. There's I came straight out on track, and the first person I came up behind was Kieran, and you know, it's me and Kieran in the top 3 as well as Matt. I mean, I'm not going to get anywhere near what Matt's doing. We'll have a sensible go at it in a minute, see if I can catch Kieran. But certainly old rivals, and I look forward to racing Kieran again, and I think I will be.
Yeah, well, obviously, I don't think he's confirmed nor deny whether if he'll be racing the ACC season. I think he's got a lot going on, or he might be thinking about having a season out. So this is kind of he qualifies, so if he wants to race or not, it's down to him. But if you were to go into Pro-Am, who would you keep in your eye on at this minute? Obviously, you're currently just behind Arjun. You now got Max Mulder, who's gone into P4. He's found a bit of pace in his McLaren. Shane's up there again. Bryn also around. Who would you keep your eye on if you were in the Pro-Am?
Pretty much all of those. Being it's a new game, a new experiences, a new learning curve for everybody, really. All of those ones. I think I let Max get away with far too much last season. I made lots of stupid, silly mistakes and made life far too easy for him. I won't be making that mistake again. If Max is up there, whoever's up there, I'll give him a challenge. As I said, I think I let him off the hook and let him have the Pro-Am Championship far too easily. Yeah, give it our best shot, learn as we go, see what we can do.
Players, we just have a quick look at the current standings at the minute. It is Bentley 1-2 at the minute. Both Matt and Argent at the top at the minute, carrying on from where they were last season. The Bentley was top of the championship, but there's quite a bit of a gap between Argent and Matt at 2.6 seconds. Then you have two McLarens, one behind the other. KLF in third, and fourth is Max Mulder. So that's an interesting pairing there at this minute. Then we have the two Lamborghinis of Shane and Bryn, ex-teammates, and it's all quite close between Kelly all the way down to Daz Automatic. Is very, very tight between that group. 8/10 between those lots. We've got Daz Automatic in 7th with Dean also in 8th. Both of them running a Ferrari, but Dean in the Evo version, as Max now goes up to P3 and goes ahead of the other McLaren of Kelly. Then you got DJ Phil in the other McLaren. He's currently 9th with Welshie down in 10th in the Lamborghini. 11th in the Lexus is Smithy, and 12th at the minute is Stealth Sloth, and that is your qualifying at this stage. They've still got 11 minutes left to go, and they've got a few tweaks and changes to do so. But
I'm going to shoot off, Dan. I'm going to shoot off and see if I can beat Argent to that second place. Oh no, beat Argent and Max now to that second place.
Definitely so. Just remember, though, every time you go a little bit quicker, you're getting yourself closer and closer back into the pro category. So,
yeah.
Obviously, different. Obviously, you raced in Pro and Pro-Am. On this type of game, which would you rather be in?
I have no experience of either one, but I know the racers, so for quality of racing, Pro, of course, do you know what I mean? But for race wins, I very much doubt I'd take any in Pro, so, you know, and race wins are nice, so I've got mixed emotions about it just at the moment. Let's see where we end up after all the quali's done tonight and tomorrow night.
Yep, fair enough, mate. Take it easy and enjoy the last 10 minutes of your session.
Lovely, thank you.
And we should have Bozzy back in the chat with us as well. Bozzy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
And Kelly, obviously a pleasant surprise so far in this session, up there with the fast of the boys in this session as well. So at the minute he might end up in the pro category, depends on how tomorrow night ends up going. But towards the end of it, it's still looking like Matt top of the session.
Yeah, Matt actually gone quicker since I came back. He only did a 46, I think it was. Now it's
45. Yeah, he did a 45. He's now into the 44s, and I believe Peaceful might have to correct me, but I believe Peaceful did a 45.0 for pole position when we last ran here. So already, I think Matt has already beaten the pole time, but currently everybody is out on track right now. Who's got a little bit of traffic? We've got, right now we are on board with Argent. He's following a Lamborghini, I think, as well, she's gone off. Who is, the problem is, my eyesight is terrible.
I believe is that Lamborghini.
That's the Lexus, sorry. It's Smithy. Because Argent makes a mess of turn 1. They've also got another car right behind them. That is Stealth Slot behind them. That's the Lamborghini we were talking about. And obviously you can see as well, Bozzy, just on the outside of the circuit, one of the other things that this track does this game does so well, marbles are starting to form at the end of the circuit. So if you run wide or go offline, your car is going to feel absolutely horrible, because you're going to pick up all those marbles, they're going to become uneven, and also if you lock the brakes, you can flat spot your tyres, you can over-pressurize your tyres, you can even get a puncher in this game as well. So physics-wise, this is as good as it gets.
Oh yeah. It's this game, when it comes to physics, is impeccable. I think I've heard a few people say in the past that this is pretty much the most realistic sim you can actually get, and best for us, it's on the console, so whoop whoop.
Yeah, definitely a positive for us. Obviously, due to not a lot of us could possibly afford a PS5, but we are running a PS4 version, as Disco says in the chat. Well done, lads, and see you all tomorrow evening, as Disco will be on track to do his qualifications tomorrow night, as you will see how he gets on. But the benchmark so far, in all the testing so far, has gone the way of Matt Imovic, who's at the minute at the top with a 1:44.8, and he's just had a little bit of contact there by, who was that? That was Bryn. So he gave him a little spin around. And Shane in the final sector as well.
Yep. It's really interesting to see these little bits, because it really gives you a bit of an insight on what may be coming to this season's race. All the races for this season. It really gives you it really broadens that down, so you can really see what you might actually be able to watch.
Yeah. Well, Daz Automatic has just improved himself. He's now up to P5, just behind Kelly. Just jumped Shane at that point, and Shane and Bryn, like Matt said, they are literally identical lap times at the minute. So really trying to get the I think they're trying to pair with each other at the minute, doing exactly the same lap times. Bozzy, obviously, just for the end of this qualified session, I'll have a quick word with you, obviously, because you do F1 on a Sunday night. Firstly, how did your first night go in at Bahrain? Obviously, different format this season with a sprint and a feature. And also, how are you looking to China? Are you looking forward to racing at the Shanghai circuit? And what are your expectations going to China?
My expectations are a lot higher for next race. Bahrain was absolutely shocking for myself. I was tired for the majority of that race, and I was half asleep, and I'm hoping for China it will be a bit better. I'm looking forward to it. China not being one of those tracks that I'm actually a fan of. I don't particularly like the track myself personally, but nonetheless I'm hoping for at least 1 point. I couldn't care if it was right at the bottom. I was right at the bottom for points. As long as I get 1 point, I'm happy.
Yeah. Do you like the new format? Obviously, with the sprint and feature, short race to start off with, and then a longer feature race. Not the 100% Grand Prix. I know you did. I believe you did the F1 season, and you did the F2 as well.
Yeah.
Do you like the sprint format?
I don't mind it, in all fairness. I wasn't too ambitious when it came to it at first. I wasn't really looking forward to it, but after doing it, I didn't really mind it too much, in all fairness.
That's good to hear, as we are just coming to the end of this. And like I said, guys, make sure you tune in tomorrow night, as Liam will be back in the chat once again to answer any questions that you guys are willing to ask us, and we can try and answer the best we can. Myself will be on track, so instead you will have Matt Imovich, aka Matthew Duffy, back in the chat, and he will be running through the qualifications with you tomorrow night, and he'll give you a bit more information as well. But also tune in for Sunday night, as the next round of F1 will be back, as we will be heading to China. Shanghai will be the next round of the season, and Max Mulder and Tim setting themselves off to a great start of the season. There's also James is also in the fight as well. Can he get himself any higher up in the championship, as he's taken third places at the minute? Matt, not the start to the season he wanted. 0 points at Bahrain. What can he do? He needs to recover to get himself back in that championship. But regarding the qualifications, Max Mulder has found a little bit more time. He's now gone a second and just behind Matt. He's only found a couple of tenths though on Argent, who comes back into the pits. Kelly is in 4th place with Daz Automatic in 5th. Shane is currently in 6th with Bryn in 7th. 8th is Dean, and he's on his way out for the last time of this session. DJ Phil is currently 9th and gone wide and into the gravel trap he goes. 10th is Welshie, 11th is Smithy, and 12th is Stealth Sloth. But it is this man who is currently in the pits, Matt Imovich, top of the tables, and the benchmark to beat at the minute is a 1:44.8, and that is what the ex-champion has done. Running the number 1 in practice, will he run the number 1 in the season? That is the question. And obviously, Bozzy, we'll come to the end of this qualification. Who's surprised you? Who hasn't surprised you? What are you interested in seeing this season? And what car, in your opinion, looks the best for this season coming?
There's two that's really surprised me, to be fair. Kelly being one of them, because I know obviously with Kelly with him not doing as much practice for this, I was quite shocked to see where he came in the end, as well as I'm actually quite shocked that Shane wasn't higher up there. I thought Shane would have been somewhere in that top 3, maybe even top 4, and I'm quite surprised that he's a bit lower than that, in all fairness.
Obviously, car that, in your opinion, that looks the best at the minute?
What was that? Sorry, again.
What car do you think looking good for a minute for possibly taking the title? What car would you like the look of?
Yeah, I've got to say the Bentley looks quite strong with a 44.8. I'm not too knowledgeable when it comes to knowing the track times around here, but
like I said,
yeah.
to put it into perspective, Peaceful last season in qualifying did a 45.0 in the Ferrari, so that's kind of the benchmark that we were looking at, and Matt's already 2 tenths a lap faster than that at the minute, so that's kind of the ballpark of what we're looking at. The McLaren obviously looking very good as well, up there with Max Mulder and Kelly, but it looks like Bentley and McLaren at the minute, they're looking the favoured cars in this group anyway. As we've got 44 seconds left to go, as we get our first qualification group out the way. It's gone so quick, boss.
For that last 5 seconds. Yeah, it has gone quite quick, to be fair. It's been, to say that I thought at the beginning, in all fairness, it was going to be quite a slow one, purely for the reason, obviously, not going to be loads happening, but it's gone quite quick compared to what I was expecting, in all fairness.
Yep, definitely so, and it's interesting to see how these guys are getting on, who is adapting the best to it. There is a car coming into the final corner, that is KLF. Is he going to sneak one more lap time in? Nope, that is his session done. 4th is his best. Argent is now in 3rd, and I think he will be done as well. As he comes across the line, that is him done as well. We've got a couple of cars in the background. That is Welshie, and he's bringing DJ Phil alongside with him as well. So DJ Phil across the line. There is a car off. That is the number 7 of Bryn. He's returned back to the pits. 15, that is Smithy. There's a queue of cars here. We've got Smithy, Dean, and Daz Automatic, and right now Dean's being held up by Smithy at the minute. This is the last lap, last opportunity to get themselves on the board, and Smithy comes around the final corner. He is currently 11th, and across the line he comes, He doesn't improve, neither does Dean. Daz will stay 5th. And who else is on a lap? There is Shane, he's currently on a lap as well. And in the stream at the end of the race. So Matt's wondering if we could do the quick race, and I believe it's only a 10-minute race. Matt might need to let me know if it is a 10-minute race. I think it is. Max Mulder back into the pits. But we've got Self-Sloth here coming into the final sector as well. But that is pretty much the session done. And those are your lap times. I know Mike and Matt wants to see these. So there's Matt at the top with a 44.8. Then it down to a 47.4 by Max Mulder, 47.4, 47.9, 48.1, a 48.4. Obviously, I didn't get to finish to read the rest of them out. And I believe Matt wants us to do this 10-minute race. So we will we'll do a bit of commentary on that one, Boz.
Yes, we get to commentate on a race now.
Yeah, even I wasn't expecting this one, to be fair.
Wow, I wonder if we're going to be doing that tomorrow then.
Possibly so.
Well, you would hope so. If not, bias. Oh, and it says they need to pit as well in this 10 minutes.
Yep, they will have to do a pit stop in this session, as my camera once again does not want to play ball. So I can't go back to the garage either, so that's a good start.
Oh, God. Yay.
Got the screenshot. So Mike is happy he's got the lap times. So it's now just a bit of fun now, Bozzy.
Yep, and we get to actually see what these guys are like in an actual racing scenario as well. So not only do we get to see what the pace is like, we also get to see what they're going to be like in terms of going side by side with other drivers, and maybe even drivers that they're going to be racing in the upcoming season.
Obviously, well, Bozzy, another thing they've got to mention as well, this start will be very different to a lot of these guys. Obviously, Project Cars was a standing start, release the clutch, off you go kind of start. This is a well, I think the formation lap will be added, but this is basically a rolling start, and you'll be given a box to stay in, and in the green box you obviously will ghost as well, but we don't want any cars ghosting inside one another. You have to make sure you stay within the green box, and once you get towards the start finish line, and ask you to stay within a certain speed limit, and then once it goes green you could drop the hammer and away you go. Smithy didn't ready up in time, so he's returned back to the pits, and we will not be able to go onto another driver till the start of the session, but we get to watch from the Self-Sloth's point of view.
Yep, same here.
So on board with Self-Sloth, they need to remember cold tyres at the start. Yeah, that's the other thing. Cold tyres, low pressures, so everything is all over the shot as they get going. They need to make sure they're in their right positions. Already a bit of a messy start.
Yeah.
But Matt comes to the start finish line.
You're going to need to learn as well. This is quite good for them to learn. So you're going to have to actually learn these little starts, new starts as well.
And there's there's a little bit of contact. We're on board with Self-Sloth, and he's been hit by Phil. And off goes Self-Sloth. And I keep changing cameras when I don't want to. But Matt leads the way from Max Mulder, but the rest of them are just barging doors. And obviously another thing that this game does that annoys me is that the split times don't update. So we actually have lost Max Mulder somewhere. There he is in the background with Bryn, I think, as well. No, Bryn's halfway around the corner. That Shane has had a moment as well, so they've all dropped down the order. But Matt's up into first. Kelly in second. He's had a good jump, good start to this one, and Argent in third. So already showing who's got the confidence around here. And obviously you see the number 1 next to their name, not Matt's name, but well, yeah, Matt's name. Obviously he's got 2 1s, but everyone's got a 1. Everyone's got a 1 by their name. That is the number of times they've got to pit, so they have to do at least 1 mandatory pit stop. Once they've done that mandatory pit stop, that will change to green, and they've completed the pit stop. Basically, Bozzy, they've just got to change tyres. That's the only thing that's required. that's a 30-second pit stop, and they've got to do it within the pit window, which is being shown at the minute, which for this fun event, this little fun session, it's only the 10-minute session, so they can pit any time they like. But Matt's well out in front at the minute, and hopefully we'll see one of the cars coming in, or as Daz goes a little bit wide, it gives Bryn a bit of an elbow.
Intriguing. Oh, there's a bit of contact between Bryn and Daz. Bryn actually getting a bit skittish
As well,
through the final turn.
Well, she comes in straight away, and I press the wrong button once again. Don't want to do that. I really dislike this game at times. Pressing wrong button. So I wanted to go on board with Welshie as he comes into the pits. Now, as he does so, he'll stop at a pit box. As he does so, the car will be lifted and the engine's switched off, and now he is doing his mandatory pit stop. Obviously we can't see the mechanics working, but obviously they are on screen. He will then sit there for 30 seconds while his tyres are being changed, and yeah, that's kind of the pit stop, and once he's dropped he can go again.
Yep, and every single driver is going to have to do this at least once.
Definitely. So Shane, someone's left the session. I'm not sure who has left the session.
Dean.
Dean has left the session, so don't matter anyway. He's got his qualification time. We're currently on board with Shane, who's following another Lamborghini of Stealth Sloth, who's slowly worked his way up to 7th. But at the minute, as the way things resume, it's Kelly versus Argent for 2nd. Argent actually has a great run here. Is right on the back wing of Kelly.
Yep, it goes a bit wide as well. Don't know.
Oh, Kelly goes wide on the curb. He hits the curb, and Argent comes into the pits. Very bouncy pit entry. Matt's also in the pits as well. But Kelly now leads the race. Bryn comes in, and Daz Automatic stays out. DJ Phil, he's going around the final corner. Stealth Sloth bouncing over the curb. He's been passed by Shane. Max Mulder obviously pitted and is on his way to try and work his way back up the order. You see that green box has appeared, and he has completed his pit stop within the pit window.
Yeah, that's something that's it's going to help you guys as viewers as well know if a car is actually pitted or not, and it will also give the stewards a bit of an indication if a car has pitted or not, as if you do not actually pit as well, if I'm correct, you actually get a 120-second penalty, I believe it is. You get
something
quite a
like
hefty penalty. You get quite a hefty penalty if you actually miss a pit window. So anyone who actually needs to pit wants to pit, or else you've kind of sodded your race up a little bit.
As I love Stealth Sloth's parking. He's full on Le Mans styled it and put it in a little bit skew-if. But Arjun and Matt have done their pit stops, and back out they come. But it's quite a long pit stop. Obviously Matt's now down towards turn 1, and Kelly's already in the final sector. So there's a lot of time they lose, but obviously a lot of time they can gain. There are a few little quirky things that you can do to get a quicker pit stop, but it's not really that massively different, as 7 is 30 seconds stop and go for Bryn for speeding in the pit lane, I believe. So that's another thing that's going to catch them out. Kelly into the final corner, and he's going to go one more lap again. As Daz Automatic nearly hits the pit wall.
Saved it.
He did indeed. Shane's now in as well as Phil carries on his merry way. And Forzy in the chat. Hey Forzy, how's it going, buddy? I thought Forzy, are you racing ACC? I can't remember now. I believe he was. Let's have a look at the reactions. I think he said he was. I don't know, I've lost my mind. No, he's not. He hasn't ticked it, so I guess Forzie's not racing ACC.
Oh.
That kind of shocked me, to be fair.
Well, I mean, hey, it's not everyone's cup of tea, this game. At the end of the day,
I think it's. I think it's more. He did race the last ACC. Fawzi,
no, he's not.
How come you've not decided to race this ACC? Obviously, you did the short one last time, but it's nice to see you in the chat anyway. Kelly's going to have to pit either this lap or next lap. He's running out of time.
Hopefully, you can actually see that there is a pit window, little tab, or it might be just waiting till the end and just doing a bit of a pit at the end.
I see. So, Fawzi's got the Xbox Series X. That's why he's unable to race ACC. So it's just F1 for him. And that's the beauty about F1. It's cross-platform, so we're able to race with those boys as well. As Kelly comes into the pits, he's going to find out how bumpy the pit entry is. Oh, he gets it together. And he gets it stopped as well. So, obviously, Matt came into the pits quite early on. Just a reminder again of the qualifying lap times. It was Matt who set the benchmark with a 1:44.8. Then it was Max Mulder in second with a 1:47.4. And Arjun in third with a 47.4 as well. So very close to those two. Kelly is in fourth with a 1:47.9. And fifth is Daz Automatic with a 1:48.1. Shane in sixth with a 1:48.4. And Bryn matching him in seventh, exactly to the thousandth. But obviously, Shane did the lap time first, so he gets the position. Dean in eighth with a 1:49.8. With DJ Phil with a 1:50.5. Welshie a 51.1. And Smithy with a 52.0. And Stelzloff bringing up the rear with a 54.0.
Wow.
As DJ Phil is carrying on.
You may want to kind of pit, but you might just miss it. He wants to really make sure he keeps the car on the track and gets a decent time still, because if not, he's not going to have enough time to be able to actually go in the pits. He's only got 1 minute left and he's coming up to sector 3, I believe it is, so he does have enough time. He just really needs to make sure he doesn't have any offs.
As Mike in the chat has already said, tart crossing the pit entry line, and that's going to be something that's going to be watched obviously this season. Pit entry and exit are all very important. Every entry line is important, obviously, due to the fact that some of the tracks that we are going to, like Paul Ricard, you leave the pits onto a fast track right in the firing line, so it's very important that everyone sticks to the pit entry lines, as Phil is now in the pits. He slows right down to make sure that he doesn't cross the line.
He now gets in the pits, but the question, he has now crossed the line, so he should be alright, but I'm not 100% sure.
He needs to be in the pit lane to serve his pit stop, so he has done that. Matt's now on his final lap. He's thinking he's won the race, but Phil's still in the pits. So Matt carries on his merry way, and right now Phil is in the pits. He'll drop down the order, and Kelly is going to take a solid second place at this rate.
He will, as he's now coming down the start straight as well, and we'll pass DJ Phil obviously in the pit lane. DJ Phil will be in the pits for quite a while now, I would have thought. He shouldn't be too long, should I say.
Oh, we got Max Mulder. Max Mulder and Arjun going side by side as Max goes down the inside. Arjun allows space, but they both run a little bit wide. Both running onto the rumble strip, and Max moves up a position, but it's possibly done illegally. So now Arjun goes back through and gets that position back. There's a squabble of cars. Welshie's got ahead of and DJ Phil is into turn 1, so DJ Phil's jumped all those are, and Daz Automatic. Oh no, sorry, Daz is about to update as he goes through sector 1. But it's normal sessions as they resume, is it, Bozzy? It's Matt coming home to win the race.
Here he is coming around the little final chicane now, to then go across the line in a second, passing the pit entry. As Matt does win this little small 10-minute race, and it just shows like how far in front was Matt. He was, wow. There was a good, I believe, 20 odd seconds between him, nearly 30 between him and Kelly.
Yeah.
As here he is, he's coming in the chat.
Oh, we're not going to interview him. No, we're not going to interview him because.
But does that not count for the stats?
No, it does not count to the stats at all. But Kelly will come home in second, so minding the trouble and finish in second place.
On the podium.
We are on the podium.
What a guy.
So it would then be Max, Arjun, Daz will finish in 5th place with DJ Phil with 6th, 7th is Smithy, Shane 8th, 9th is Welshie, 10th is Del Sloth, and Bryn brings up there who's back into the pits. And then one more final run of the tables here. We're looking at the qualification.
Oh, we're allowed to do donuts. Sorry, Dan.
Sure, if you want to do some donuts. The final qualification, it is Matt at the top of the session with a 1:44.8. That is the benchmark for pro. As then the rest of the order, so there's Max Mulder with 47.4. Then it's Arjun with a 47.4 as well, but a couple of tenths slower, a couple of hundredths slower than Max Mulder. 4th is Kelly, also in the 47s, but a 47.9. He did that earlier on. With Daz Automatic with 48.1. And Shane with 48.4. 48.4 again for Bryn. Both identical lap times. I'm pretty sure they all want to be teaming up, especially if they do exactly the same lap times like that. Dean Wasaki with a 49.8 and Phil with a 50.5. Welshie with a 51.8 and Smithy with a 52.0. Bringing up the rear is Selslaff with a 54.0. Tomorrow night, though, in the session will be this list of drivers. You're going to have myself in the session. We have PN Motorsport, N Plava, Overtaker, Disco McDisco Face, Fury CBK, Smoky Devil, Gary 131, Big Boy Brazier, Monkey Boy, Peaceful Explosion, Sati Apex, Tibbs, Ugbar, and Holty. What kind of tracks, what kind of cars are we going to see tomorrow night? That is the question. Bringing you all the information and everything that you need to know will be Bozzy once again, and also Matthew Duffin as well. Matt, 44.8. You've got to be happy with that. You sent the benchmark.
That's a stellar lap. Do you want to know something even better? I did that on full fuel.
Nice.
52.3 litres of fuel in.
Wow. Very nice. You did it on your 21st lap as well.
Yeah, well happy with that. Really happy with that. That's a good lap time. That's a good benchmark for you boys tomorrow night. That really is.
I'm just good. I'm just going to try.
Just based on what we've seen and testing all week, like if you're in the 44s, you're kind of setting the pace at the front. So that's a good benchmark to see if, Dan, Fury, Overtaker, the guys can beat it or get close to it.
Definitely so. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for tonight's qualification. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night, Matt. We'll be bringing the action with Bozzy once again. Obviously, with the list of drivers that they've got to discuss with. Make sure you also tune in on Sunday night as we will have the next round of the F1 season. We'll be heading to Shanghai, China. Can Matt actually get some points on the board after his woes in Bahrain? And can Max Mulder and Tim carry on their lead in the championship? And obviously, what can James do sitting there in 3rd place at the minute? Can he finally get a race win to his name? He says he's so good to me in the chat. He still hasn't beaten Max or Tim yet, so we'll see how he gets on. But from myself, from Bozzy and everybody here, it's good night.
He says he's so good to me in the chat. He still hasn't beaten Max or Tim yet, so we'll see how he gets on. But from myself, from Bozzy and everybody here, it's good night.
Good.